So first I'm using a really fine brush with black face paint, and I'm going to be creating the outline of a butterfly wing. I highly recommend having a reference picture because that's what I did, and I constantly just looked at it and kind of like tried to recreate the butterfly shape. And the butterfly is just going to be on one side of my face, so that's why I'm only doing half of a butterfly. Down the center of my nose, I drew half of a butterfly little body the best that I could, and I made sure to only keep half of it because we're going to use the other half of the face for something else. I really wanted a lot of texture on the wings, so I went in with these little bubbles on the ends of the wings, and then I went in and put orange face paint basically on the entire wing. Once the whole wing was orange, I added some red shading because I felt like a painter and I thought I could add texture, and I knew what I was doing apparently. So I just added red in random spaces, and then I kind of just like smudged it in. I did go over the bubbles as well, and it kind of picked up on the black face paint, which added some kind of contrast, and that's when I began to kind of make it more ombre in, so from the outside in. For this look, I also pulled out my BH Cosmetics palette, and I set the eyes with the orange color. I love this palette. You'll notice I use it a lot in my Halloween looks every year. Oh, and here I'm adding orange face paint to the center of the butterfly to make it brighter, and then I dragged in the red, kind of like an eyeliner look, a really blown up eyeliner look. Here I'm going back in to intensify the red on the borders of the wing because, like I said earlier, I wanted it kind of ombre in. Now I'm going to use the red eyeshadow in the palette to kind of buff out and continue that ombre look. And then going back into the face paint, I'm going to be taking the black and drawing these little wiggly little lines. I don't know what to call them, but it was all part of adding texture to the butterfly so that it doesn't just look like it was colored in like in a coloring book. You know, you want real texture and you want to really feel like it's a butterfly. Then I'm taking the white face paint, and on a flat round brush, I'm basically just stamping it on the sides of the wing over the bubbles. And you'll see I went over it a couple times to intensify the color. By the way, I totally forgot to mention that I already had foundation on the half of the face where the butterfly was gonna go. So here I am just setting it with powder. You also want to make sure that you use a good primer for looks like this, just so you know. Again, here I am thinking I'm a painter and wanting to add shading to probably areas that don't even need shading or that don't even make sense. But if you like it, I just took black eyeshadow and lined it against, or not against, but next to like the outline of the butterfly, and just faded it out. Now using the black face paint again, I'm gonna actually line my eye and connect it all the way through so that it looks like it's that division between the wings. For the neck and chest area, I also drew a line to keep it split right down the middle. And then I created kind of like a butterfly wing, just drawing these really large U's. I really don't know a better way to describe it, but kind of like this. And then I just filled them in the exact same way that I filled in the butterfly wing. So now I'm going into my yellow face paint, and we're going to start working on the other side of the face. So I'm applying this to the entire face first. Well, not the entire face, hold on, just half of the face. And here I am. I really recommend drawing these little lines first. That way you keep the color just on the right side of it. Once my whole left side was all yellow, I started drawing in the hollows. So I went around my eye and I created an outline first. Then I filled in with just black face paint. And as you'll see right now, I decided to draw in like a little hook just to add to like the frowning expression of like a skull or skeleton. And then I'm drawing these lines here. I don't even know if this is correct like bone structure. I don't think that it is, but I saw it in a picture and it looked cool. And then I'm drawing like a little hook on the other side of the eye as well for the same reason. Then you're going to want to draw in the nose, and pretty much you would just draw like a teardrop, I think, or like a chocolate kiss is the best way I can explain it. And then the hollows of the cheek as well. Once you think you have a good outline, go ahead and fill it in. And I made adjustments to this as I went because I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. Okay, and now here is, I'm going to start shading in again because I wanted to do a lot of shading apparently. And I took an eyeshadow brush with a little bit of the black eyeshadow and filled in the rest of the hollows here. For the teeth, I also did a little bit of face paint first and then went back in and buffed it out with the same eyeshadow brush. It just gives it a really cool kind of effect actually. And I did add a touch of the eyeshadow as well. So next I drew this line right above the hollow of the cheek, and I also faded it out and shaded it and all of that. For the actual teeth, I used the flat rounded brush that I used earlier with the white, and I just stamped the teeth on over the black area, and I kind of dragged it out to give that kind of like candy corn shape. But don't worry if they're not perfect because you can always go back and detail. That's what I did. I took the fine little eyeliner brush with black face paint and I just detailed each individual tooth at the end. Then for the bone structure, I drew these little guidelines and I'm going to begin filling in or kind of just creating the whole structure of the bones over here. Right now I'm just shading in. I'm going to connect these two lines and then I'm going to fill in all that negative space with black because we want to pretend like it's not there. And if you're doing this look on yourself, don't forget your ear because if there's anything I know about the anatomy, I know that it wouldn't have an ear on there. So for the spine, I'm just drawing these little rectangles. Well, I'm just making lines to form these rectangles and then I make them a little bit slimmer and a little bit more detailed as I go. Then with the black, I'm going to fill in basically every other space so that you have the illusion of the bones. And if you have more time, you can actually like draw in the bones for the shoulder, but I didn't do that. Next with the white face paint, you're going to color in the very center of every yellow area, and this is all just to add shading and different colors and tones and texture. I also did a little bit of white details on the hollows. Now for the extra fun, I just used my eyelash glue on my cheekbone and added these cool little jewels that I got at Joann's a while back. And I try to use similar colors like the clear, the yellow, and the orange. After I was done with that, I brought out the glitter collection. So using my NYX primer, I applied it in the spots that I wanted glitter. Then I went back in with this brush and applied the appropriate glitter for the appropriate paint color. So orange glitter over the orange spaces and red glitter over the red spaces. I also did it on my neck and chest area as well because it all had to go together. Now back to the shading, I picked up a brown eyeshadow with an eyeshadow brush and just filled in the yellow spaces again. Now I'm adding jewels to the side of my nose because I felt like I needed a little more. And then I went into all the yellow spaces and added yellow glitter. Again, I used the NYX adhesive. And here you have the final look. If you recreate this look, please don't forget to take a picture and tag me. Also add me on all my socials. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you next time.